Hey, how is everyone? We are here to talk about unlocking success, connect, and grow. And it's all about the power of networking. I want to feed into this mindset because I will introduce myself. My name is Evelina, and I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and transformational coach. And mindset is one of my specialities that I work with my clients. So I wanted to bring here the mindset and how that affects your networking and why those two really go together. So maybe recently you've decided to start a business, maybe you do have a business and you decided to try networking, and maybe you've tried networking before, wasn't really working for you, you're giving it another go. Maybe you do have a fairly successful business, but you want to step up and connect with other businesses and other women because you've heard how powerful we are as women, how powerful is networking, connecting with other people, because we buy from other people. And I'm not sure if you know, but we make our buying decisions based upon our emotions and how we feel. We don't make those decisions logically, even for what we like to think. This is how we buy. We don't. So you've heard how powerful is networking, you want to try, and then you bump against stories that you didn't even know that you have. Maybe your confidence wavered, it kind of went away. You're okay talking to your customers, but suddenly you go into this networking event and you've got those voices in your head saying, "Who do you think you are? Those women know each other. What will you say? How will you present yourself? Maybe you don't feel about yourself the best because maybe you're going through some difficulties in your life." So the voices in your head are not very supportive, or maybe you hear yourself saying, "How will this help me anyway?" Or whatever I do, I can't seem to take my business off the ground, but I'm gonna give this a go because I've heard that networking is a powerful way of growing a business. I kind of don't really believe this because somewhere deep, really, if I'm honest with myself, I don't believe that I can succeed or whatever you may be hearing. So, because we're talking about unlocking success, um, in my business, I talk about how to train your mind for success. One of the key core aspects is mindset. The other one is emotional intelligence, emotional resilience, and future self projecting, all very important parts. But today we are going to focus on the mindset and stories. So suddenly you have those stories that are very helpful and they're making you feel a certain way. So even if you see yourself as a very confident person, suddenly you just feel a little bit uneasy. You're not really feeling super comfortable in the environment. You kind of over project, you talk too much, you over explain, you're not really sure what as yourself, and you're like, what is this? Why am I suddenly struggling to connect and convey who I am and what is my business all about? Because that all comes from your subconscious. So, for those who don't know, in simple terms, there is a subconscious part to our mind, and there is conscious part of our mind. So the conscious part is only about 5%. For the most part, for 95% of the day, we run the subconscious program. And you'd be like, wow, how is that even going? So Imagine that maybe you are listening a podcast in the morning and you jump in a car and drove to work and you really in the podcast, and you got to work and you're like, whoa, how did I got here? Did I even follow the rules? Did I like run someone over? You didn't, because while your conscious mind was focused on the podcast because you were really listening to it, your subconscious took over and got you to where you needed to be. Because you've learned how to drive, you know how to drive. It's automatic, subconscious part of who you are. You don't need to pay attention to what you're doing. I don't know if you maybe bought a car. I remember like when I bought my car, I suddenly saw this car everywhere. Suddenly everyone was driving the same car. It's because it got filtered through my subconscious, my reality. So our reality is not the truth, it's not the actual reality, is a reflection, a mirror image, a map of our beliefs, stories, personalities, identity. So if you, for whatever reason, have a story or a belief that success is hard, networking is difficult, whatever you do is not going to help you to grow the business. Maybe because you observed your parents struggling with money, struggling with success, arguing, and you observed this. You've learned this from them. And this is how we learn. Those things filtered through. So, through the first few years of our lives, we operate in pure subconscious. If you watch little children, they learn so quickly. They don't go to school when they're 2 or 3 to learn the language. They just learn everything through observation, through hearing, watching, mimicking. When little girl wants to be like a daddy or mommy, they mimic you and do everything that you do. This is how we learn. So wherever you've learned as a little girl is now playing through to your what you call a reality or stories, because we can have stories about who we are and what's possible for us, what success means to us, what society ingrained in us, what is success, even if may not be the definition that is actually truly aligned with us. Because for the most part, if you think about it, the way the society defines success is you have a great job, a great partner, maybe 2 cars, a house, a summer house, and whatever amount of money in a bank. But that may not be your success. But in my definition of success, it's to have the freedom to do whatever I want and not to be tied to 9 to 5 job that is sapping the life out of me. Someone else's, maybe that is the definition of success. But if we haven't examined what that is, that stories that we have, that is very difficult to achieve. I kind of went on a tangent. So we have those stories about networking, about who we are as a person, about how confident we are, how people see us. We think that certain people see us in a certain way, and then we behave that way because we have the belief about ourselves. And then there's something called confirmation bias. So whatever we believe, it is confirmed. It's going to get filtered through our map of the world to confirm our beliefs. It's like example with the car, or let's say a husky. If that wasn't in our sphere of reality of the map, it's not going to get filtered through. So if you've got certain definition of success, a certain definition how difficult it is to create success, to grow a business, and maybe you have that definition that success is hard, you need to work hard, you need to sacrifice your happiness and time with the family, or you only can grow so much and then you can't grow any further. Everything else is not going to filter through. All the opportunities that may be coming your way or be around you won't even see them because it's not in your subconscious, and really subconscious runs the show. And if you think about it, if I'm consciously thinking about my hand, I'm flashing a flashlight consciously and paying attention to my hand. I don't really pay attention to what my stomach is doing or my heart is doing. It's just doing whatever it is doing. But when I put my attention on, I put the flashlight on it, I can hear my heart beating. The same in the shower. I just do my thing. I may be thinking about something else and I just do wash my hair and do the thing that I'm doing. And there is exercise that I want you to join me to do. So I've learned this from someone else. I want you to say your name in your mind 3 times. So say your name in your mind. Say it again. And then yell that I really say your name. And now I want you to take deep breath in and out. And again, deep breath in and out. And now we are going to blink in rapid succession from 1 to 7. So it's 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? Okay. So now what happened to your breathing? You stop paying attention to your breathing. It just happened. Your subconscious took over. What happened to your blinking? You're not paying attention anymore because you were like, oh, wait a minute. What happened to my breathing? Now, what happened to that voice in your head? Now you might be thinking, oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, what happened to my voice? Oh, yeah, I'm now thinking about this. I'm not thinking about that. So that is putting attention and flashlight on certain parts of our mind because we're not paying attention, that subconscious programming, all the beliefs and stories and thoughts and habits, if we don't know what they are, they're going direct your life. Because remember, it's 95% of who you are, your identity, your stories, your beliefs, everything based upon what you've seen, what you observed, what you experienced up to this point. And something that my mentor keeps saying, we are where our attention is. So if we're not paying attention to what's going on in your mind, but those stories may be saying, you're not good enough, you're not worthy enough, even if you are not consciously aware of them. And that is when we are stressed and we are anxious because we are up in our stories. We're saying, oh my God, this is going to be difficult. I don't know how I'm going to cope with this. I'm already having my heart palpitation, my hands. And we're up in here in our head and we are not present and now. We're not setting an intention to be here because when we here right now, there is no room for stress, for anxiety, for overthinking. We don't tend to be present. The world, the way it's designed, it doesn't cater to us being present and in a moment. We being pulled in so many different directions. So we constantly on the go, not paying attention to what's going on in our head. So then we attend those amazing networking, we connect with those amazing people. But if we are not aware of what's going on up here and we've got some underlying beliefs about who we are and what's possible for us and how difficult or how easy it is to create success, how difficult or easy it is to find opportunities to grow, to find the clients, to be on everyone's mind is going to supersede everything else. So that's the story. Now, whatever I do, it doesn't really work because there's an underlying belief that maybe that you're not good enough based upon that something happened to you when you were little and then you reconfirm that belief by repeating to yourself that story and by confirmation bias. So absolutely, networking is amazing, but your beliefs, your mindset, your stories, your identity, who you are will supersede that. Because it's not about you doing more and attending more networking. It's about who you are, your being. Because all the networking, all the doing activities is only as successful as the being, you doing doing. So it's not about doing more, but being very intentional what you do and who you are, how you showing up, your intention, it matters. So I highly encourage you to practice silence and mindfulness to observe your thoughts, where they are, and what is going on up here. So when you're going to do the 2 minutes, I really highly encourage you to practice every day just for 2 minutes. It's not very long. Just practice. And then you can expand this to 5 because when we are silent in meditation, we can really notice the busy highway that so many of us have. And we are not even aware because as humans, we are so used to it. We in a habit of running away from what's uncomfortable. Maybe success is just not familiar to you because you grew up in a household that there was no business people, money were difficult to come by, and there was plenty of struggle. And the mind prefers what's familiar. So maybe success is just not familiar to you, but that needs to be determined by looking into your subconscious. It's all about flashing that flashlight and deciding, looking what's going on. So that's one of the things that I do with my clients is identify what is really going on in your subconscious. It doesn't pull the strings behind the scenes, behind the shadows, and you don't even know. But you're doing all the doing, you're very busy, you're killing yourself over attending networking and doing more, but the underlying beliefs and stories will supersede the doing. And when you're doing the silence, be very intentional what you are doing. So don't just go, I'm too busy and I can't do that. I've got family, I've got kids, I've got business. I have no time for sitting 2 minutes. Are you crazy? Like, I can't do that. Be very intentional because what's going on outside of us is really the extension of what's going on in here. So be very intentional while you're doing this. So don't go like, oh, I'm too busy. Right, okay, I'm just gonna do 2 minutes. Okay, okay. Oh my God, it's only 15 seconds. I'm too busy. Okay. Well, 2 minutes passed. Oh, okay. So you stopped for 2 minutes to go back to being busy. Be very mindful. It's all about slowing down and observing. So become an observer of who you are, your thoughts, your patterns, because they will really reveal a lot about who you are. And then when you attend networking events, it's going to be so much more powerful for you when you reframe what success means to you. When you shed everything doesn't belong to you, shed the stories that do not support you, shed the beliefs. Is a quote that I've heard and I really love it. which says we examine all the beliefs except those that we truly believe and those we never think to question. Because if we think that we believe something, it's true and it's set in stone. Who says that? Where did you get that belief in the first place? I highly encourage you to really question and examine every story and every belief that you have. As part of the work that I do with my clients, we look back and we examine where those stories, those beliefs came in the first place. And we take them apart. Because you can absolutely be who you are, but you have to become mindful observer of yourself for this to happen. So I wish everyone to become a mindful observer, to be really in charge of your thoughts and the stories that you keep telling yourself, because that is fundamental to your ability to create the life, the success, and unstoppable life for yourself. But you have to start from within. That's an absolute must, because you can have $1 million business strategy. It probably won't work for you if you don't have the supporting beliefs and stories for that strategy to work. You can hire an amazing marketing person who probably won't do much if you don't have the supporting and beliefs to support the success. Maybe you are very successful, but you are afraid to lose it. And you've lost it before, and now you are afraid to even gain the success in the first place. There's so many different ways that you can go. After working with clients, I have some ideas where usually that comes from, but it may not be for you. We are all very different and very individual, coming from different backgrounds, hearing and observing different things. So I hope that was helpful. So I know it doesn't say much about networking, but it's all about your mindset. Who do you think you are? Your beliefs. So become a mindful observer of your thoughts. Be very mindful about the stories that you tell yourself and watch your life expand. I can promise you that, but you have to be very diligent doing that. All right.